Hello guys, first of all, big apologies. This has been so long since I've done my last upload to this YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, but I've been mega busy with Roger, with the build, with my clients' work, and it's about time I did a little something. So I'm just going to give you an update and show you exactly what's been going on here at the cable build. So we're just going to walk in. I'm also lucky today to have had the services of Greg's Mowing, another channel on YouTube, someone I've got to know. He's a really good guy. He's an artisan when it comes to cutting hedges and anything to do with the garden. Real knowledgeable individual, and he's actually going to help me by filming this today. Usually I have a selfie stick. So anyway, come on in and we'll have a little look. So this isn't my van, but it's a very nice van. Belongs to Greg. Right, off we go. So all the glazing's in. The house is just about to be wrapped up in the final finishes. So we've got some more renders, coloured renders, with a bit of stone to go on and some timber cladding, a little bit like the summer house that we've done. So for those of you who don't know anything about the building, this was the first glass and steel house in the UK. It was built in 1957 by a guy called Michael Newbury, and he lived here with his family, and it was simply a glass box with a steel frame and a flat roof, and it didn't work particularly well. It was single glazed. It had underfloor heating made from inch iron pipes in the screed, which was revolutionary at the time, but the condensation was bad news. This is what the locals have told me that have visited over the years. So we'll have a little look now what it's looking like inside. So we're at the end of the first fix stage. We've done our MVHR, we've done our central vacuum system. We're currently doing the plumbing and heating, so underfloor heating and all the services to the bathrooms, and the electrical, which is a big job. We've got over 2,000 meters, so 2 kilometers of cable in at the moment, and masses of pipe work. We'll have a little look at that as well. So come on inside and we'll have a little look round. So I'm standing in the entrance hallway here, and if you look around me, you're going to see cables, you can see a lot of timber work. So we are really at a mature part of the first fix stage, and I particularly like to get every single thing done before we put one plasterboard up, and make sure we don't forget anything, because there's all kinds of other things like the AV, there's Cat 5 or Cat 6 even. There's a Milan cable in, there's all that other sort of gizmos that you need to put in nowadays. I'm not doing any smart wiring, I'm not big into smart wiring. I may use Hive or something like that for my heating controls, but again, that's for later on down the line. So coming on through, I'll just show you our boiler room. If it's probably a bit difficult because of the light, but basically this is in the centre of the house, and we've got a Valent Ecotech boiler. It's a system boiler. We have a hot water storage facility, so MegaFlow. We've got the central vacuum system here, and we have one of our 3 manifolds for the underfloor heating, and that's all in construction at the moment. So this week we'll be putting all of the underfloor heating down. We've got a system which combines 2 solutions. We've got an overlay system, and we've got a traditional on top of insulation wet underfloor system, so like a 14mm pipe and a 10mm pipe, and that runs as one system, and the manifolds actually share the system. So some of the ports are 10mm pipes and some of them are 14mm pipes, so it's very sophisticated. So we'll move on through. We've got some pocket doors here which are going to be put in, and what you see here is like a mock-up of a door, and I do this purely so I can get them all running right, set up the stops and everything else. And so the idea of this is I can open these 2 rooms up without doors being here or here, because I might use this as a hallway and as sort of snug at the same time. If I'm having people around or whatever, I'll open it all up. So coming on through into what is going to be the kitchen area. So we've done loads more first fix in here. I've had to drop ceilings to get levels the same, get past steels. We've been doing masses of other battening on the walls. We've got vapor barriers gone in, and this is another time consuming job. But if you know anything about timber frame, you've got to be careful about moisture and getting the vapor barrier in the right place. And there's lots of controversy over where you should and shouldn't have a vapor barrier. For example, if you talk to the building control, they kind of shrug their shoulders and they have this sort of attitude that, well, let's do it anyway. Or you talk to the timber frame supplier and they might say, well, actually the vapor barrier is at this position or whatever. So I'm the sort of guy who likes to do everything belt and braces, and also the gypsum board that we'll use, so the plaster board we'll use, will also be vapor checked. So it's like a real belt and braces job. And the idea of having a vapor barrier, we have an airspace behind it, we have an airspace this side. This enables me to drop my cables down this side of the vapor barrier and any other services I want to put in. Vapor check board straight on there as well, and I think it would be absolutely perfect. Indeed, when I used to first build loft conversions, I started in about 1988, we simply put a 4x2 stud work up for the dormer, ply on the outside, filled it with lagging and plasterboard. I've never known any problem with these buildings. I've never had a comeback. Obviously nowadays we don't do it like that, but it's just kind of like building technology's come on so far now, and because we're airtight a lot of the time, that can create a lot of problems. Where buildings are air leaky, you don't get so many problems with moisture build up. And so talking about that quickly, straight above me here, a plenum. This is part of the MVHR system by Lindab, and this one is an extract from the kitchen. And then in the distance, we've got supply pipes. So the idea of that is it takes all the wet, stale air into the unit. The unit then recovers the heat, gets rid of the stale, moist air, mixes the heat with clean, fresh air during the winter time or when it's cold, and redistributes that into the living areas. And so what we've done in the boiler room is we've made that a fairly airtight room, and we have an extractor in there as well, purely because of the energy that's going to be made in there from heating pipes of water, boilers, cylinders, and we'll recover that heat as well. And the ultimate aim from that is create a nice living environment and keep down the energy bills. The fan itself in the motor for the MVHR is very low energy, and when we commission it and we set it all up, we use a computer and a computer program which runs in conjunction with the system. We get the fan speed just right, that we're not using too much energy because it runs 365 days a year. It's virtually silent. So it's a really good technology, and something I would imagine that all houses will have in the future as we strive to become airtight and energy efficient, which is something which is all the fashion these days. So a couple of other little things I want to say as well. Thank you to everyone who's come up to me, Screwfix, Selco, Travis Perkins, even in the theatre recently, to say hi and sort of said we've seen us on Skill Build and that sort of stuff. Our most successful video to date has been the scarf joint video, believe it or not. So anyone who's watched that and come over to me to subscribe, I really appreciate that. We've got a few more videos that we think are going to be really interesting to you that we've worked out and we're going to do in the near future. So keep checking back to Skill Builder for that as well. Roger's been away, I've been away, but in a couple of weeks' time we're going to be collaborating again, and we're going to be pulling together quite a lot of new ideas and things that we want to bring you. So I don't really want to talk too much more about the first fix because it can get a bit monotonous and a bit boring, but I'll just have a quick run through. I'll show you the vacuum system. So these white pipes here that run through the walls is part of the vacuum system. There has power to every outlet, and the idea is you lift up the flap, and as you plug in the hose, that sets the motor off. So it makes the circuit, sets the motor off, and away you go. And there's 5 outlets in this house, and you use a 9-meter hose. You can get a longer hose, but it starts getting a bit sort of clumsy. It's a fairly good system. It's by a company called Beam, and I'm looking forward to not having to push around. I don't push around a Hoover, but if I was pushing around a Hoover, I'm just glad to just pick a hose up. Anyway, moving on. Anything else worthy to show you? Follow me. This is one of our manifolds, one of our free manifolds, and basically I'm going to position that in this wall. I've done one earlier, and I'll show you that quickly because anyone who's interested in underfloor heating will see what that looks like. So we're coming through the master bedroom, and in the dressing room, behind the wardrobes, you'll see that I've got this set up here, and the idea is there'll be a pair of wardrobes here, a pair of wardrobes here, and I'll be able to open that, and there'll be another door at the back of the wardrobe for me to access the manifold. This manifold here is going to run everything on that side of the building. We've got our flow and return coming in, our wiring centre, and as I said before, most of this is 14mm straight on the top of the PIR insulation, which is clipped down, and then there's a couple of outlets here which are going to be doing the low pro for this area here. So I mean, it's quite a lot of work, but I think the benefit of underfloor heating is you've got all this wall space, then you've got no radiators. But recently, for those of you who haven't seen it, you can get underfloor heating, but it's not underfloor heating, but it's for the wall. So you can actually run the wet pipes in the wall and it radiates the heat out, so you can plaster them in, provided you don't want to put pictures up or anything like that. But so there's a lot of new technology out there. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Sorry it's been so long. I've got some other interesting things coming up, and all the new subscribers. The last video I mentioned the number of subscribers I had. I talked about I had 3,000 subscribers, and I checked the other day and there's something like 8,300, so it's amazing. So thanks very much. Keep checking back and see you soon.